Welcome back, everybody. This is part 7 of the Chapter 2, Maps and Geographic Technologies series of lecture. Chapter 2, Part 7. This part will be relatively short. There is one portion of your textbook that poses the question, is it possible to lie with maps, or do maps lie? Do people have a tendency to believe what's on a published map, even though they might be skeptical about the printed word? Well, indeed, maps can miscommunicate information or outright lie. Here's a good example that's discussed in your textbook, is the Soviet-era maps. Now, the United States has always been very forthcoming in what it releases to the rest of the world in our map libraries and what you can find out about what is where and so forth. We're pretty good about being open with our mapped information. However, in the Soviet Union, it could be very secretive. It was hard to get a hold of published map information. And in some cases, you had the situation where in one reference, a city might be located on one side of a river. In another reference, it might be located on another side of the river. In some cases, maybe not at all. And there have been various reports about how whole cities have been abandoned or obliterated due to a nuclear test, nuclear accident, and so forth. So they were never very forthcoming about their maps. So in this case, yes, the map is a lie because it was intended to deceive, to give the wrong information out to the rest of the world. And that's without getting into propaganda. Can maps be used for propaganda? There's a couple that are in your textbook. For example, these are some Nazi Germany propaganda maps that show how Germany, let's see, in this one you have Germany is being pinched here, and that this little piece of Germany over here is separated from the rest of Germany by Poland's territory. So that was pretty bad of Poland to do that. So of course the Germans were right to go and take over that area. Or how about this one? It shows how Germany is vulnerable to air attack from Czechoslovakia and reach anywhere in Germany by airplane. And so, of course, Germans were justified into taking Czechoslovakia. And here's another propaganda map from the Nazi Germany perspective. When you look at what the size of Germany was in the 1930s, compare that to the territory that Great Britain had. At one point, the British Empire controlled about a quarter of the world's land surface, but Great Britain was accusing Germany of gobbling up little adjacent areas. So, which one is the aggressor nation? So that's pretty good propaganda here. That's another way that maps can lie. Here's American propaganda, I suppose, and Mark Molinier's famous book, How to Lie with Maps. He didn't want you to lie with maps. He just wanted you to be aware of how maps might be misleading. Here you have the Soviet Union and its allies mapped out on Mercator cylindrical projection, which of course distorts things in the high latitude, so it makes Russia and the Soviet Union appear much larger than it actually is, to show the war-packed nations becoming a sprawling red menace, which of course they were. Well, you have lies, damn lies, and statistics, and I sometimes say that all maps are lies. And that's meant to not to disparage maps. I don't like maps or something like that. But technically, any map is a lie because, as we learned previously, all maps have to be projected. So in one way or the other, they're going to distort either the size, the shape, direction, distance of things on the map. So just by being projected, they're technically not telling all the truth. And also about map scale that we looked at. All maps are scaled down drawings that are generalized. What do you leave out? This would be lying through omission. What are you leaving out? Well, as you zoom out to the world scale, smaller scale maps are more generalized, and so leaving out details, omitting some truth, is that a lie? Also, on some maps, certain features might be exaggerated for graphical clarity, and I'm sometimes surprised what people think of these. Well, one good example of that is if you have a typical road map, like say a fold-out road map in North Carolina that you can still pick up at the North Carolina road areas, rest areas, tourist stops coming into and out of North Carolina. Anyways, they give away paper maps of North Carolina, and they have a big one tacked up as well with an arrow on there next to a star that says "You are here." If you've ever seen a road map in North Carolina and seen Route 95 going through Robeson County, it's a thick double line that goes through there. Now ask yourself, is Route 95 really that wide in relation to the rest of the county? I mean, how much land area is taken up by Route 95 in comparison to the geographic size of Robeson County? Not much, but it's shown to be much, much larger than it really is. That's one of the things to keep in mind whenever you're looking at mapped information. Sometimes some things are exaggerated for graphical clarity or pointed out so that you can see them. And also a big can of worms to open up is various ways that symbolization, or using the wrong symbolization, or using a wrong color pattern and so forth, then people may misinterpret maps. Okay, so that's a short segment they had about the truthfulness of maps in the textbook, and so now we'll move on to another subject.